I don't really see the point of making short films anymore, unless you're doing it for one specific reason. And if you're not, you're probably wasting your time and money. Short films were kind of like a big deal between, I'd say, like 2010 to 2015, during like the Vimeo era, where you could make a short film, put it online. If you got like a staff pick, you were like one of the top. It was almost like a festival for online, and producers and people from Hollywood were looking at Vimeo staff picks and reaching out to young independent filmmakers. And this happened quite a bit. I mean, there was a lot of careers that were launched this way in the early days of the internet. It was right around the time that Vimeo came out. Vimeo was the thing that kind of made it serious to put your short films online, because it was HD, was good quality, and people from anywhere could watch your film. And you had a pretty big batch of filmmakers that came up this way. Neil Blomkamp made Alive in Joburg, went on to make District 9. Wes Ball, who made Ruin, who went on to do Maze Runner. Fede Alvarez, who made Panic Attack, he got hired for Evil Dead. And David F. Sandberg, who made really great horror shorts, got hired to turn one of his into a feature film as well. It was at a perfect time where people were just starting to put their films online. There wasn't a whole lot of content there, and things would go viral. And producers from Hollywood started to look to the internet. But then saturation hit, and the internet just blew up, and then you had streaming platforms and all kinds of content flooding in, and it really just drowned out anybody that was trying to get their voice heard. Everybody has a camera, and everybody can make content and drop their short film, and there's tons of short films that get dropped online every week, and 99% of them go unnoticed. And the great thing about short films is that they were a way for filmmakers to show their talent and what they're able to do with a small amount of money. It didn't require a big budget like a feature film. You could do something small, contained, and it used to be where you would make something like that and you put it out in festivals, and there were a lot of filmmakers that got noticed through that. Wes Anderson went on to make Bottle Rocket, which was a feature film of his short, and a big list of filmmakers that all came up through that indie film period of time where you could get into a festival, get some attention, and the internet sort of took over that, and it became a great way to level the playing field for anybody to put their stuff online. Because when you think about it, like, what is the purpose of a short film? You can't put a short film into theaters. There isn't really a way to distribute it until the internet came around. Before that, you would send tapes around for people to try to watch your films, and it was really like a way for filmmakers to make a calling card, to be able to send it around to show what they have, the skills that they have. And I think people still try to do that today. You make a short film today hoping that it's some sort of calling card, but the problem is that the attention span is just so small. So if a producer or something sees a cool looking short film, unless it's attached to something or has a feature film idea behind it, they tend to pass up that stuff. A lot of producers don't want to see just talent. They want to see a vehicle that they could fund. So a filmmaker can make a great short film that stands out on its own, but if a producer reaches out and they say, hey, this is a great short film, do you have a script for this? And you say no, it's going to be harder for the producer to want to get involved. Now, there are some cases where you say no, but they still really believe in you as a filmmaker, which is a very rare case to happen. They see the talent there, and then they try to hire on a screenwriter to kind of help you come up with a story and write a script for it and try to get it pitched. It's more of a long run for a producer to do that than to just reach out to a filmmaker, say, hey, this is a great short, you have a great idea here, do you have a script for this? And if you say yes, there you go. And that's really where the key is. If the film is attached to a feature film, if it is part of something bigger, that is going to be where you're putting your best effort forward in making something that doesn't just live on its own, but is part of a much bigger story. So if you're going to make a short film these days, make a short that is based on a feature film idea or a feature script. And there are a lot of great examples to show how this works. For instance, Whiplash. Damien Chazelle had a feature length. He was going around getting producers attached to it. Everybody was excited about it, but there was a little bit of hesitation about, can this unknown filmmaker, this young unknown filmmaker in his 20s, actually pull off the drama that's in his screenplay? So they said, first, you should go make a short film version of this. They already had producers attached. That's how they got J.K. Simmons on board. They went, shot a scene out of the movie, put it off to Sundance, and it won Sundance. And so everybody said, okay, we trust this. We'll invest in this filmmaker and in this story. They did it. Turned out to be a great success, but it was always part of a feature. It wasn't just like some kid made a short film about a drummer, put it in a film festival, and then some producer was like, oh, let's see if we can turn this into a movie. Let's try to write a script. It was a script before they even shot the short film. You can look at films like Napoleon Dynamite. It was a short film that Jared Hess had made in film school called Palooka. Had the same actor, and then they turned it into a feature film. A more obscure one is like Hobo with a Shotgun, Jason Eisner, who had shot a short film version of it, then later turned it into a feature film. Or again, mentioning Wes Anderson, his short that he turned into Bottle Rocket. And it's the same thing that I did for my film. We already had the script finished, and we started a Kickstarter thinking we'll try to raise the money for the feature, but if we can't make the feature, we'll make a short film and try to pitch that to make make the rest of the feature film. So if you're going to spend the time, money, and energy, it should be a proof of concept that opens up doors to the feature. And the way that we did it on Proximity is I actually took it a step further. A lot of people will make a proof of concept short film that's kind of a throwaway. It's an idea for what the feature film will be, but all the actors and everything that's in it gets thrown away. The whole scene gets thrown away, and they go reshoot it as part of the feature film. The way that we did it was we actually wanted to shoot the short film to be a part of the feature film. So if we were going to spend like $10,000 to $20,000 shooting a scene from this movie, we didn't want to just throw it away. We wanted to cast the actors, get the real locations, and make it good enough that it could actually be a part of the feature film. Like, this will actually be a scene in the feature film. We started making it with the short film, and we're going to continue making it after that. But we could also edit it down to use that to go pitch and get the rest of the financing. That way, all the robots, the locations, the actors, everything we took very seriously in casting it to make sure that this would carry on as a feature, which is not a typical way of doing it, very unconventional, but it helped us a lot because our budget was so low that when we finally raised the funds for the entire feature film, it saved us like $10,000 to $20,000 because we had already raised that in Kickstarter funds, and that brought the budget of the movie down because we had shot something that could already be part of the film. Instead of throwing that money away and shooting a proof of concept, that money that we spent is in the film. In fact, we used that scene to help get the financing for the rest of the film. So we cut like a teaser trailer just based off of the week that we shot, that we were able to shoot with the money that we had. We took the scene that we shot and created a sales teaser to give to our sales agent to take out to raise the rest of the financing for the film. And I could show an example of what that looked like. This was a teaser that was for a film that we hadn't shot yet. We had only shot one scene. The stuff that was in the teaser is everything that we had shot. It was going to be part of the movie, but we hadn't finished the rest of the movie. And we made it look like this is a teaser for this film that's coming out. And it really helped raise the finances for the rest of the movie. So the goal should be to sell the feature, not the short. Take your idea that's a feature film, write a script, then take a part of that and shoot it as a short film. Take a scene. This can be a throwaway, but use it as like a pitch video to show, to either post online, to put into film festivals, any connections that you have, put it online and use that to try to sell the film. Even if you have to go to crowdfunding sources, Kickstarter, whatever, at least you have a proof of concept. And when a producer calls you and they will ask you, do you have a script for this? You can say, I do. You have a whole idea for it. This has happened to me several times. I had a short film in the Los Angeles Film Festival, and I had producers call me and they'd say, hey, I saw your film on the website, like your trailer for it. This looks really cool. Do you have a script for this idea? And it was like, no. This was like a very avant-garde, like abstract sci-fi piece. I had no idea what a feature version of it would be. And it just made me realize that when you do get the attention of something like that, that's the door that opens. And if you don't have something ready to back it up, the door can just close. And the reason for it was that I didn't want to turn that short into a feature film. I'd never thought about making that into a feature film. I was writing a completely different feature film. So when they asked me, do you have a feature version of this? And I said, no, but I have this other project. Can I come in and pitch it? And they said, yeah. But it was like a comedy horror, something completely different from what they saw in the short film. So it was like, they liked the sci-fi thing. I brought them like a comedy horror, not quite what they were asking for. And in saying all this, it's not to say that like that's the only reason for making a short film. A short film can be a great way to just get practice, get more experience. It could just be a way to get that creative idea out. It could be a micro short film. It could be super short. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 20 minutes. But for me, it tends to be something that balloons into a bigger and bigger idea. And then, you know, if you're going to spend all this money and time and all that, you can't really distribute a short film. And because you can't distribute it, it can't make money. Producers are not going to be interested in it unless it is tied to something bigger. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to make a short film, make it because it's something you really love to see. Be okay with the fact that maybe no one will see it. Maybe you'll put it online. Your friends will see it. Maybe it'll go viral. Maybe a few thousand people will see it, and you're going to be okay with that. Or you could submit it to film festivals, and that's a fun part of the process too. I mean, you can make a short film, you can submit it to festivals. You're screening it in a movie theater full of people, and it's a very cool experience getting to see other people watch your stuff in a theater. With film festivals, and this is something I'll talk about in another video, film festivals these days can be very tricky to get into, so just be prepared for rejection letter after rejection letter. But there still is the chance. It still is an avenue for short films, so that could be another reason to make a short film. And if you're too hung up on like, I'm not going to make anything unless it's a feature film, and that stops you from ever making anything or creating anything or practicing, then don't let that stop you either. Like, it's a good way to just make something, but do it low barrier, no expectations. Very quick, something small, don't make it too complicated. My only point is if you're gonna spend the time and the money and the effort and you're gonna spend like $10,000 or something on making a short film, I think at that point it's worth it to make it a part of something bigger. So that's my take on it. Unless you're making a short that's tied to a feature film, it might be better to put that money to use towards something else, like developing the feature. Maybe hiring a writer or hiring concept artists or hiring somebody to put together artwork in a pitch book. It might be better to spend that money developing the feature film because there's more of a chance of getting distribution and producers on board than putting together a short film that's not tied to anything. But if you can get your feature film developed, if you can write your own screenplay, put together your own pitch deck, then making a short film that's based on that screenplay is gonna be your best bet. And in that case, you're still gonna wanna put it online. You still might wanna try to put it into film festivals. You're gonna wanna try to get it in front of whoever you can. But at least this time, if it does well, if it does get the attention and somebody calls you up and says, hey, is this part of a bigger idea? Do you have anything else with this? You'll be fully prepared. That door will open and you will welcome them in with all the goods that you've developed on that movie. And that to me is the best way to do it. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any questions or anything, drop them down in the comments and I'll try to answer everything that I can. Until next time, later.